What do you think are the most common sources of conflict in families and how can they be resolved effectively? Siblings lol. Before it is about money, but right now it is about what political ideology they stand. Right-wing uncle vs left-wing sister, fight. For me, parents having clear favorites, parents enabling siblings who are entitled lazy asses and dismissing you because you manage life without being mollycoddled. Love my mom, but equally disappointed in her sometimes. Political standpoints. Every family is different. Some don't let themselves get upset enough for the conflict to need resolving, others just live together in quiet resentment for 50 years, refusing to divorce or die to spite the other. Cause: family. Solution: no family. Miscommunication and unmet expectations seem to be the biggest culprits. Honest conversations and a bit of empathy go a long way. What's your family's secret to keeping the peace? When it comes to parent-child relationships, parentification, or infantilization. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it sure funds a lot of family drama. From who spent too much on a latte to the sibling who never repays loans, money turns peaceful dinners into budget meetings. Solution? Clearly defined budgets or just win the lottery. And the second one, ever heard the phrase, marry the person, marry the family? Nothing brings out tension like an uninvited opinion from your spouse's mom about your cooking. Solution? Set boundaries or convince them that aliens have taken over your household. Family conflicts often arise from issues such as a lack of communication, differences in values or expectations, and even economic matters. Sometimes, the spark that ignites them is something small, but over time, unexpressed feelings accumulate. One thing I've learned is that the key is to speak with openness and empathy, avoiding judgment. Alcohol, that was the big one in my family. No one wanted to admit they were an alcoholic because that meant everyone living in that home would need to make changes. So they didn't. I ended up with drinking issues as an adult and finally got sober almost 4 years ago. I had to cut out my family from my life and it hurt me deeply. I can't maintain my own sobriety while surrounded by drunks, so I removed myself from their family. The solution to get sober isn't for everyone apparently. I feel like favoritism through a family line is a big factor, like if you had a brother-sister who was favored over you, would you be mad? Religious standpoints, at least in mine. My mom raised me as a Jehovah's Witness, so I never got to do regular kid stuff like trick or treating, decorating a Christmas tree, go to friends' slumber parties, do after-school activities like sports or music, was constantly worried I pissed off God and was going to die at Armageddon. A few years ago I told her I no longer believe in it, that I don't want to be in a religion that says all non-JWs including babies are going to be killed at Armageddon, and that the doctrine sounds ridiculous. She's been trying for years to get me to go back or have Bible studies, but I hold firm. But the tension between us has been stronger than ever. Conflict, inheritance, solution, an ironclad will. Surprisingly, it can simply be space. Does everyone have their own room, or at least a nook or partition in a shared room that is just theirs? I've seen so much fighting that resolved when some kids moved out or a couple got out of a tiny apartment and each person had their own space. I've also seen one kid take over a closet to have her personal space there and built a fort, and that was her zone for the next 6 months. Religion is a big one. Neuroticism caused by generational trauma and the endless interplay of past grievances that cannot be let go because they feel like they say so much about who we are and what people really think of us. This can be resolved with ample therapy and mutual respect, but it usually doesn't work out that way because not everyone will pull their proverbial weight. Poverty, universal basic income, no therapy, or at the very least some form of counseling for past childhood issues. That stuff is cyclical. Just get therapy.